Barstool College Football Show live from Michigan State in East Lansing, baby.
Let's go. This is wild.
This is
They're
wild.
throwing shit.
They're throwing beers. We've got beers thrown at us.
I always call it a studio show, but really it's more of a spoof of a studio show. We're not running highlight packages. We're not, doing the traditional analysis that you'd get on, other networks. It's just our authentic take on how we would do any of our content.
All right, it's Thursday, November 4th. This is episode 188 of the Token CEO podcast. We're presented by Sports Research. I'm here with my friend Spider. Spider, what do you do at Barstool Sports?
A myriad of things. I'm super pumped to be joined by you today, though. Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome.
Office management stuff, logistics, assistance, that sort of thing.
What's your favorite part of your job?
It's definitely probably the traveling, like going to shows and seeing the plan unfold in real time. Is kind of rewarding.
You're the drive the car, get the coffee, find the prop, rescue Dave.
Sometimes
You're
security.
like his guy Friday. Security.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Multiple security incidents.
Yeah, a few.
Yep.
I'm glad we have some backup now. That being said, I don't know. It's just fun. Every day's different, It's like you never know what to expect. Like today, Dave had me searching for a cookie that I believe is no longer even on the market, just so he could prove to his dad that it was. But I don't think it is even available anymore.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah.
And what were you doing before you came to Barstool Sports?
I was in school at Fordham, but during that time I was doing like radio stuff with WFUV there, as well as freelance like runner jobs for ESPN, and that was pretty cool too. I got to do College Game Day when they came to Times Square, Monday Night Football, but now it's cool doing it. Like, I'm super pumped for the Arizona Bowl upcoming, the Rough and Rowdies being on the apron in the
You're
ring.
a big NASCAR guy.
Yep, that's been awesome partnership that we've got to kind of build and grow.
Right.
The best part about Barstool is all the different things you have going on. You know?
Absolutely. It's never a dull moment.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, do you work out?
No.
All right. Well, if you did, go ahead. Do you?
I would say the extent of my workout would be like running around and just sweating and
getting
stressing.
Caffeine for
yeah.
Dave. Okay,
yeah.
stress and running around. So speaking of, if you were going to work out, Spider,
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest like some glute exercises or something. A little like
Get that
you're
cake
a wiry man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like bulk up a little bit. Sports Research is a company that can help you do that. They've got this little product called Sweet Sweat, which is you rub it all over your fat, which you don't have any, which I'm probably not supposed to say. That's like a microaggression. I have some fat. You rub it on your fat and it like melts it off. Probably
That
also
sounds
can't say
incredible.
that, right? Who doesn't want that? So
Yeah.
if you go to sportsresearch.com and use code Erica, you can get 25% off. You can also get vitamins. Do you take vitamins?
Not as much as I should. I might have to check
Yeah,
out
so-
sportsresearch.com.
.com. Code Erica, 25% off.
There you go.
All right, so today's show, we've got Spider for a little bit. We're going to have David Blattman, who is the producer of our college football show. We had a huge weekend in East Lansing. Did you go, Spider?
It was awesome. It was
Incredible,
unbelievable.
right?
Yeah. I think Dave made the right call with the last-minute audible to change the location. It sounded like a couple people were saying like it might be a little far from the stadium, and then quickly we pivoted to a much more lucrative location, and I think it made all the difference for the show.
All the difference, and we had, how much bigger do you think our crowd was than the game day crowd?
I mean, by that photo I saw, probably like 10x. Not
Yeah.
even kidding. It was crazy. Just based on that side by side, but I didn't really see their
You're in the thick of
activation,
it.
their
Yeah.
set. I didn't see people going or coming from there.
Yeah, you're just running on our
Yeah.
side. So we've got David Blattman, who chooses the college football show. I remember we have been trying to have a successful college football show forever. Even before I got here, Dave made one. And then now we've got a show that's bigger than game day, which is insane. But before we get to that, we're going to do headlines together, Spider.
Okay.
Then I'm doing Q&A. Then we've got David Blattman. And then we're going to talk about adulting. Do you struggle with adulting?
I'm not a parent yet, as far
No,
as I know.
that just means growing up.
Oh.
You struggling with growing up, Spider?
I guess, yeah, because clearly I don't know any of these big adult words.
What
so.
do you eat for dinner on like a Wednesday?
Usually one bite frozen pizza. I'm a big frozen pizza fan. But if not that, maybe some Mexican food, maybe some hibachi.
Takeout?
Yeah, always takeout.
Always take out.
Yeah.
You're not cooking.
Not really, no.
Do you still live with Tommy Smokes?
I do, yes.
Yep.
It's me, Tommy, and then one other. Our third roommate kind of cooks quite a bit, but I respect it. I don't have the
Barstool
time.
person or no?
No.
Just
Nope.
a civilian?
Just a Long Island Italian kid.
Well,
he's great.
That's not bad to have around.
Yeah.
All right. So first headline, Spider, is Overtime. So do you follow Overtime on Instagram?
Not on Instagram. I've seen their stuff on Twitter, I want to say.
All right. So they have developed their own basketball league, and they built their own arena in Atlanta. And this weekend they had 24 kids playing. They paid them $100,000 each to skip high school, play in the league. They're guaranteed their salary. All the games took place in Atlanta. It looked pretty awesome on social. I think Overtime has done an incredible job of pivoting from a media company or a social media company, which is about viral highlights. And now they're becoming a destination for high-performing basketball players or high school athletes. And now they're starting to monetize that. So what do you think about that?
I think it's genius. I'm kind of in the camp that the NCAA could be way better to its student athletes. And I think any sort of alternative opportunity for them to play and show off their skills is incredible. It seems like based on what this consists of, they might have a little bit more leeway than something governed by the NCAA.
Yep.
So
these are like high schoolers. They're like, fuck college.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into the business when we're 15.
But I mean, again, I think that's genius. Like these are opportunities that wouldn't have existed a couple of years ago. So it's incredible to see just how adapting.
How it works.
Right. And
All right.
to be that young, making that much money, I think is, I don't know. That's just a tremendous head start for a lot of these kids.
Yeah, so
that
it's going to
need-
change people's path to the NBA.
Right, and a lot of these players often need like income right away.
Sure.
You know? It's like the first couple checks change
change
the
your
lives
life.
of their family and their parents,
Yeah.
etc.
All right, I love that. So the next one is our friend Mike Rapoli. Mike Rapoli is a beast of a business person. Dave and I love Mike Rapoli. Dave and Mike Rapoli are great friends. I remember going to his office it was right near Octagon. Maybe it was in Octagon. He's like buying horses and running a conference call and having a meeting with Dave and I. Like Mike Rapoli is a man that can do anything. He just sold Body Armor to Coca-Cola for $5.6 billion. Coca-Cola had bought 15% of the company in 2018. This is Coke's largest brand acquisition. It's water, so let's be honest, it's all about the brand. Body Armor is Coke's big play to get past Gatorade, so this is going to be their Gatorade. Body Armor has already surpassed Powerade, which is Coca-Cola's current version of Gatorade. And so it'll be interesting to see. There's also a huge amount of nostalgia because Kobe Bryant has been associated with Body Armor from the beginning. So what do you think about this, Spider?
I mean, I think it's awesome for the Bryant estate, first of all. Not saying they're strapped for cash or anything, but the fact that they're getting $400 million from this deal is incredible. I'm happy for them. Hopefully that will take care of generations of the Bryants to come. Also, you got to be happy for Mike Rapoli, a guy that's worked with you and Dave both extremely closely. He's done Big Brain for us, that giant brain right there. Awesome show that we worked on. And yeah, like you said, he's a business mogul. He's a pioneer. And he kind of changed the game several times with vitamin water and now Body Armor. I think it is super interesting to hear people's like power rankings of Gatorade, Powerade, Body Armor, that whole like kind of genre of
Do you
drinks.
have a favorite?
Yeah, honestly, I think mine is Powerade, which is surprising because this deal is kind of saying a
It's
testament.
like see a Powerade.
Right, they're trying to diversify their Powerade with the Body Armor to compete at Gatorade.
Good job. You sound great at this, Spider.
Oh, thank you.
Dave and I always say that we'd be afraid to have Mike Rapoli as a boss.
Really? I
think
probably
he
would
be
too.
up
I'd
our
much
ass.
rather have you and Dave
Yeah, I
than Mike
think
Rapoli.
so. Yeah, he'd be like driving you 24/7. All right, next one is there's a company called The Athletic. Have you heard of The Athletic?
I have, yeah.
Subscription news about sports. I remember I had a meeting with the founders of The Athletic like a billion years ago. It was right when I joined Barstool. We had breakfast at the Four Seasons in San Francisco, which is ritzy. Like it's like
Sounds super fancy.
where you're seated. Now, meanwhile, flash back to Barstool Sports. We're eating like egg sandwiches in Dave's apartment, but that's not how the Athletic guys did it. They told me that they were in business for personal wealth and their legacy. So they're trying to get that legacy. They've got 1 million subscribers, and they're trying to sell to either FanDuel or DraftKings for a whopping $750 billion. So what do you think about that?
I mean, just off the rip, that number seems pretty high.
Yeah, very high. Good job, Spider.
I'm very familiar with like their their media outlet, I guess. But to me, the only really mediums they exist in are like print format.
Yep.
Like they don't really have a massive podcast network. I know they do have podcasts, but I feel like we have so many different things going for us here at Barstool, whether it be video content, podcast network, like there's
live shows,
exactly,
social, commerce, pizza.
Where they seem kind of more like a very structured, narrow.
Yeah, it seems it's old school. It's like old school local media.
Right.
It's like old school local print media.
And whereas Barstool is like kind of like fan coverage of the sport or the team, they seem, from my perspective, to have like a more buttoned up traditional
big
journalist
J.
approach.
Big
exactly.
J journalist. So we'll see if somebody buys them. But I think the interesting thing is when anyone is talking about media acquisitions right now, they don't talk about other media companies. They talk about sports betting companies. Also makes me realize that we sold Barstool Sports for a song. But that's okay, Spider.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, given how comparing us to them, do you think like differently?
I think we're worth way more than the Athletic.
Yeah, I agree.
It's also hard to have a subscriber business, right? They have a subscriber business, so like every month you got to win people paying you out of their pocket,
And 1 million subscribers, I feel like that's nothing to sneeze at,
Yeah, I hear you, Spider. All right, do you know what Birchbox is?
I am familiar.
Really?
Yes.
All right. So Femtech Health is a new healthcare company. They're buying Birchbox for $45 million. So Birchbox, back in my day, was like, you got a Birchbox subscription, and it was right when the subscription boxes were starting, and this nice little well-wrapped package of crap basically shows up at your house, and you're like, ooh, I got a bunch of samples. I feel like that business was it just kind of fizzled. Then you had like FabFitFun, or I think that's another one. Their boxes were better. But anyways, what's happening right now in pharma is everyone is disintermediating the pharmacies. So if you need to get birth control, speaking of a topic we did not cover, or you want an ED product, or you just want vitamins, Spider, okay? Like you just want to boost up your vitamins. All of these pharma companies are buying subscription companies so that they can send them to you direct to consumer, where you don't have to go to CVS and be like, I need to pick up my prescription.
Right.
So do you subscribe to anything? Or do you have boxes show up?
I don't do any boxes like that. No, actually, no.
Okay.
Which I'm pretty happy with myself. I feel like at this point in time, it's very easy to just be, a customer for one of these.
Okay, so
said
Spider,
boxes.
what do you spend your money on?
I would say mostly food. Like I said, I'm always not cooking, ordering takeout, so that's probably my main income.
Okay. Or your main cost.
Yeah, main cost. And then it would probably be like Ubers, taking rides, transportation, subway, etc.
What do you do for fun? Like Friday night,
Yeah.
like you're not exhausted from this place. What are you going to do?
We'll go out for dinner, have some drinks. Nothing too crazy. Like I'm not buying tables for my friends at any clubs or anything like that. But
what time are you in bed by?
Depends on the weeknight. Like for example, Halloween, I just went to sleep. I slept away Halloween. It was great.
That's actually really nice.
Yeah.
I did too, to be honest with you.
Oh, well.
It was quite lovely.
It was awesome. So I don't know.
I love missing a requisite holiday. Like New Year's Eve sucks.
When there's that many people in the street,
Yeah, you're like, forget it. I'll do it the 30th.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Halloween, it is what it is. It's kind of a thing of my childhood. I see it as like no real interest in continuing that.
All right, Spider, I get that. All right, Spider, do you have an Apple phone or an Android?
I do have an Apple phone. I actually once had an Android phone while I worked here. It didn't last very long.
Did you get made fun of for that?
It wasn't really more made fun of. I just felt bad inconveniencing like you, Dave, Dan, etc.
Because we had to see the green bubble when we texted you?
Not only to see the green bubble, it's like it's just not as reliable of a means of contact. Like you can see when it's delivered, you can see if I read it, etc.
All right, well, so listen to what Apple's doing. So Apple launched a new mechanism in April that gave users the opportunity to choose how apps track them. Have you seen this? So when you download a new app, so like yesterday, I got in a cab yesterday. I had to go to a meeting. Got in the cab, realized I forgot my wallet. So I'm like, fuck. So then I'm in the cab, and then I realized I could download the Curb app. Do you have the Curb app?
No, I have used it, though.
Okay, it's pretty cool, though. So anyway, so I'm like begging the cab driver not to kick me out. And I'm like, sorry, I don't have any money. And he's like, ugh, I hate you. So I download the Curb app. I'm trying to get my PayPal set up. And now Apple is prompting me or you or anyone who has an Apple phone of do you want to allow this app to track you? Like, do you want to allow them to track you only once, always, or never? And what's happening is because Apple is giving consumers that choice, it is denying all of these apps and the big ones like Facebook and Google and others, denying them your data, and it is costing them billions and billions of dollars.
I mean, I love it. In my
Consumer
opinion,
privacy, it's a good thing.
yeah, I think
Yep.
we need to take privacy more seriously, and I think that Apple has always been kind of on the consumer side when it comes to privacy. I've heard like news articles from years past where like the FBI was pressuring them to like give up a passcode for someone's phone, and they just refused due to their like policies. So
Yep.
I kind of respect Apple's commitment to people's privacy.
All right, I love it, Spider. That's
and
great.
Also, these apps like Uber, whatever, whoever, you don't need to know my location every single time. Like maybe you can know my location when I'm
in the
ordering
car.
food. Yeah, or in the car. Like
Sure,
when
I
I'm
agree with
asleep
that.
at home, there's no need for you to be keeping tabs on me.
100% amen to that, Spider. Okay, Spider, before I let you go, tell me about you have a list of company complaints I saw on Twitter.
Yeah.
So tell me who's on your hit list. Who's on the Spider shit list for
It's
companies?
definitely a shit list, not a hit list.
Okay.
I would say there's a couple companies that have just wronged me professionally.
All right.
That lapse of trust that has cost me, burned me. And yeah, there's a few of them. One being Rove Concepts, a furniture company, a Canadian furniture company that we bought a bunch of pieces for the New Jersey sportsbook streaming site. And they gave us the runaround. They lied to us a bunch. They didn't ever give us a real answer. All of their staff told us different things for weeks upon end, up into the point where like we were about to launch like in
no one had any place
days,
to
and we didn't have
sit.
a couch. Everything else was in place. The TVs were set. The cable was set. Just no seats because of Rove Concepts lying to us. At one point, they said it fell off a truck. It fell off a
Meanwhile,
train.
it's like stuck on a barge
Yeah.
outside of Los Angeles with
And
the rest
listen,
of
I
everything
get it.
anyone's ordered.
COVID, like furniture delays, there's
Yeah.
shortages, everything. It's a perfect storm right now. That being said, all I'm asking for is transparency. Don't lie to me. Just give me a straight answer.
Okay, Spider, I believe in that.
So
Who else you got?
That's my first beef with Rove Concepts. The second one was with Apollo Jets, college football show, which has been awesome this year. One thing that we've tried doing is same-day trips, meaning Dave, Dan, the crew fly in and out same day
Yep.
if the kickoff and show allows. So that's what we did. Blacksburg, Virginia. Our plan was to fly out in the morning and then fly back immediately following the show, so Dave, Dan, everyone could
everyone
return
go
to their
home and go to
families,
bed.
etc. I found out days before that our private jet that we had booked for this trip was being used by another crew, like literally minutes before ours, to the point where I asked, hey, can we move up departure 30 minutes just to ensure that we get there on time? And he's like, no, we can't. Like, there's another crew on there. Whatever. I was like, well, as long as that other crew doesn't jeopardize our flight, I'm not.
So they
I don't wanna know
jeopardized
about
the
it.
flight?
So come day of the flight, fast forward like 4 days, he's like, you're not going to believe this. Like, your plane had a technical issue, like an aeronautics issue. It's not a quick fix. Like, I'm scrambling to find you guys another plane. And I'm like, dude, you know what's at stake here. We've been doing this 4 years. We've been giving you
Always with the same company.
with first priority. Every time I knew of a trip for you, Dave, whoever, I would go to him and say,
Yeah.
hey, can you quote this
Ooh,
for
did you
me?
fire the guy?
I haven't booked with him since.
I got screwed by Blade this week.
Really?
Blade booked I was flying to Boston, and Blade, I don't know if Daniela fucked up or if it was Blade.
Yeah.
Let's be super honest about the situation. But I'm going to blame Blade.
Okay, yeah.
They booked the flight for a week from when I was there, and I'm
Oh,
like,
no.
I have got to fucking get to Boston.
Yeah.
When you got to go places and you're paying a lot of money for the travel,
Well,
travel should deliver.
My beef lies with their reaction. They were like, oh, you have to look at our recovery. Like, we got you a plane. I was like, dude, you got us a plane 3 hours late. I was there sitting there sweating in the terminal, panicked that we were going to miss a live show in front of
Yep.
thousands of people because every step of the way, I try to be proactive. Hey, this other crew, is there a contingency plan? Do you have a backup aircraft?
You were planning
For worst case scenario. And then his response was like, he replied LOL when I told him that Big Cat had a hard time parking at the FBO. Like, they gave him a hard time about keeping his car there for the 6 hours we'd be gone.
All right. So you're a big response customer service guy.
Yeah, it's
Maybe you have a career in customer service, Spider.
To me, if you cost me my trust or professional
Yeah, you're dead to
success
you.
amongst them and you have to.
I
there
got
has
you,
to be
Spider.
something
I
on
love
the
that.
line.
Do you have one quick last company that you're feuding with right now?
My building management company, Kips
Okay.
Bay Court, Beam Living.
What did they do, Spider?
It's been an active construction scene since I've re-signed my lease. It's absolutely crazy. It started. I re-signed this summer. The whole.
Did you get a discount because of COVID?
Yeah, I got like maybe 1 month free. Honestly,
That's not that great of a discount.
Exactly, especially given what I knew was soon to come with all these construction projects. They tore up all the hallways. They redid all the elevators. Now we only have one elevator working for the next year. It's a 24-story building, Erica.
Spider, that's just no way to live.
So it's just either stairs or I wait 10 minutes each time I got to get up and down.
What do you do?
I usually wait and take the elevator. So if I'm a little bit late for work, just know that I'm probably
All right,
waiting on my
Spider.
elevator.
I trust you. All right, Spider, thank you for joining us. That was great.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate it. Awesome.
It felt great to be able to give my takes on some stuff that I absolutely probably have no knowledge regarding. But
That's okay. It's your opinion. Your opinion matters.
thank you.
All right, JustWorks. So JustWorks makes it easier for you to start, run, and grow a business. So if you're Spider and you're tired of doing the runaround for everybody else, getting their coffee, booking their flights, doing their stuff, with JustWorks, you can onboard yourself in minutes with simple software that makes a great first impression. So what you can do with JustWorks is give your employees access to a whole bunch of things: health insurance plans, PTO requests, basically whatever your employee needs to manage their life at work. JustWorks helps your company do that. So you can onboard employees with one easy, intuitive platform. You can take the guesswork out of employee tax guidance and regulations. You can manage national health insurance plans and make it easy for your employees to enroll in them. And you can get help in administering sick leave policies, harassment and discrimination training to make sure that your company and your employees comply with state and local requirements. JustWorks makes it easier for you to start, run, and grow a business. Go to justworks.com, and that's justworks.com for more information. All right, so earlier this week, I hosted our token Zoom lunch. It was awesome. We had about 200 people on there. What I loved about it was that so many people in the group were new, and the way that they described it is like, hey, in my lunch hour, I'm going to have lunch with the CEO, which I felt was pretty cool. I actually got a lot of insight from it. It was so interesting to hear what people are struggling with, how they're thinking about being at work after the pandemic, things that people are struggling with in terms of growing their career and in managing people. So I got a ton out of it. Hopefully they got a ton out of it. I heard that I left the Zoom meeting and people just kept on talking, which is awesome. That will be really helpful when we launch a job board, which is coming soon. So here's a little bit from the conversation. All right. From somebody new, what got you here and why are you here?
Why would you not take this opportunity to get an audience with you for lunch on a Monday?
Let's go. I love that.
I feel like I've been watching along on Instagram for so long that this was a great opportunity to like actually hear you speak in person.
Awesome. All right. Well, so here's what I was thinking. Why don't you, if you've got a question or a statement or something you want people here to know, let's just like drop it in the chat. Or if someone wants to be bold and just throw out a question, like, let's go.
I'll throw out a question.
All right, Jenna.
Yeah. So you probably see me, I make the drinks and I throw them in the Facebook group from time to time. I'm
Love
a
it.
bartender by trade. So I'm trying right now to profit off of what I'm doing. And like the numbers are good. I have the stats and everything, but I just don't know that it's like I have all the homework done, but now it's like, I feel like I'm handing it into the teacher to be like, okay, now give me the A, or AKA give me the money.
Yeah.
So like, how would you go about actually profiting off of what you're doing?
You're following, you mean?
Like my following. Yeah. So I have like a podcast with it and I'm just trying now to like monetize it.
Great. I think that's awesome. So, and someone actually sent me this question today in the AMA thing too, or maybe it was you actually even. So here's what I would say is the first thing you want to do, in my opinion, is you got to put your story together in a way that's succinct. So if you want to give it to the teacher, you need like one PowerPoint slide or one word. I don't give a shit what format it's in, but like, who are you? What do you stand for? Why is your content interesting? So I'm on the board of Torchy's, right? And so one of the things that everyone is like, what the fuck is Torchy's Tacos? I've never heard of Torchy's Tacos. Has anyone here heard of Torchy's Tacos?
No.
I think they're amazing. They're like fresh, they're scratch made, they have a really cool founder story. But if you're from the Northeast, you probably never heard of them because they're nowhere to be found up here. When I'm telling the story of like what Torchy's does, I'm like, it's Shake Shack, but tacos. You can get a drink, you can get a high quality taco, it's got a great story, it's a cool vibe. So I think analogies are sometimes helpful for people who you want to do something for you. And especially an analogy that is bigger than you are. So like when I was first at Barstool, I wanted people hated this, but I wanted people to take us more seriously. So I was like, we're Disney for 18 to 24-year-olds on the internet. We're just like Disney. We're just like Disney. And the Disney and the ESPN people were like, no, you're not. But I was like, it didn't matter because it worked for us because people were like, oh, I get Disney. Now I get you. And then I think the last thing you need to do in terms of monetization is like, you got to decide, are you going to monetize yourself directly? In which case you got to go like hoof it on the internet and find who's doing influencer marketing, who's doing performance buys, or are you going to try to find someone else to do it for you? And the hard thing with that is it's a lot of work to make money. So you could either hire someone and be like, I'm just going to pay you commission, right? That's what Dave did when Dave started Barstool. He basically was like, hey, Gaz, if you go sell some ads, you can eat what you kill. Or you need to decide, are you going to devote a percentage of your time to going out to find, to go out and find people to pay you? So that's kind of my 2 cents. Is that helpful?
Yeah, very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, wait. This was a great question. And okay, this is from Whitney. No. Okay, is Whitney here?
Hi.
Hi, Whitney. How we doing?
Just peachy. How are you?
Good. All right. So Whitney posted an interesting one. So she says, okay, this summer she received a bonus and a pay raise. Shout out Whitney. But 2 months later, she was put on a PIP, which is a performance improvement plan. And so she asked her bosses, why would this not come up in my annual review? Couldn't get an answer. Then started getting micromanaged. So now she's in the world where you have to give the hour by hour update of what she's doing. We do this too, where it's like, copy me on every email. If somebody tells me to copy me on every email, I literally will be like, I'm fucking out of here. So now Whitney wants to know, what does she do? How does she be positive about this? Does she suck it up and take it in stride? Does she get the fuck out? Like, what's the advice for Whitney?
Okay. So like another little bit of background too. So we have like these weekly Zoom meetings, and I want to say maybe 3 weeks because we have them every Wednesday at a specific time. And we literally go over, and the first question is, so how has your week been? Well, it's been the same like every other freaking week. What else do you want me to do?
Yeah.
But they had brought something up, and I tried so hard to be so professional about it to the point where like they made me cry on Zoom. Oh. And then afterwards they go, maybe you should take a few hours and regroup.
Okay. That's kind of condescending. All right, Whitney, do you want my 2 cents? And then everybody.
Yes, please.
Okay. Or do you guys want to go first?
I'll take whatever. I don't care. I'm losing my mind. So
Whitney, what are we doing here?
I have a question for Whitney, and it's a hard question though. What changed in your work that moved you from increases and bonuses to a PIP? Because there's obviously a catalyst there somewhere, and if it's legit or not would make my decision on if I'm leaving or not.
So I'm really geared toward leaving. So basically during COVID, our office pretty much had a hiring freeze. And so I was tasked on obviously doing 3 other people's jobs during COVID because they wouldn't hire anyone. And then come to find out over July, like for the new revenue or whatever, the new fiscal year, our revenue was over $3.1 billion. And yet we're still like on a hiring freeze. So I really don't know where the disconnect was. It's been like very shady throughout the entire company. They keep saying that they're trying to restructure our departments and things like that. I work for an international law firm and I do all of their content for their knowledge lawyers. But everything's been kind of hush hush. So I don't know like where this came from. And I don't want to reach out to anyone else and be like, hey, like, is this happening to you? I don't know. But at this point, I'm kind of like, I'm done. Like, fuck it. I need to find a new job. So
I just can't believe it wasn't brought up in your review because that seems bizarre. Like that's a question I definitely ask. Like, why wasn't this brought up in my review when all of a sudden it is now a problem? Like ask the question to them, like what has changed if your work has not changed?
And the manager did not do my annual review. It was my supervisor, and my supervisor is now on maternity leave. So my manager was not involved in my annual review. He's now involved in this PIP, as well as the supervisor that's filling in for my supervisor that's on maternity leave. But they have no idea like what I do, like nothing.
Yeah, I say any manager that starts a meeting with how's your week going? So general, that's shit management. I would go in with like, here's my priorities for this week. Here's some things that I attained last week. Like go in with like, are these topics we can discuss today? I'd say go into those meetings with points of your value and worth and leave them saying they're like, oh, okay. You know, if they don't have feedback for that, rather than asking how your week's going, you could tell them, you know, what Netflix stuff you watched at night when you ate for dinner, but that's answering their question, but it's not really focusing on the role.
Okay, so here's my take, Whitney. So when your company puts you on a PIP, they're getting ready to fire you. Okay, so like we got to like lay this out here. You are going to be on the chopping block. So the first thing I would say is, and I'm sorry, the second thing I will say is most companies are filled with shitty managers. Like this shit happens all the time. So what I would say is this is one is in order for the PIP to be legally defendable, the PIP needs to be very specific. So it needs to say you need to show demonstrable improvement at A, B, and C. What I would do is I loved the suggestion from, I can't see your first name, but the blonde lady drinking coffee right now, loved that. It's like my numbers on top of it. All right, Morgan. What's up, Morgan? Okay, so what I would do, Whitney, is I would make sure that every week you send an email on Monday. And all right, so sorry. Let's assume you don't want to get fired. Okay, like I'm going to work under that assumption. You don't want to get fired. So on Monday and Friday, or Monday and Thursday, I would send an email proactively to your supervisor, your manager, whoever's in the goat rodeo of people who you report to. And I would organize it by the things that you're supposed to make improvement on, as well as what your priorities are. So what I would say is, okay, we're going into the week of November 1st. Here are my priorities this week. Here's the traction I'm expecting to make. Here's any open questions that I have. Don't be too needy on the questions. Be like, this is what I'm doing this week. I would then send an email on Thursday or Friday and be like, and this is what I did this week. So I said I was going to get this done, and now I'm going, and I did it, right? Like that's kind of the value exchange you're creating. If your manager is smart, I'm not sure that's the case, they would say, ooh, Whitney, you're a little bit off, or you need to strive for a higher goal, or this isn't right, and you should be running at this, and this. But by virtue of you sending the email, you're going to force the dialogue. You're not going to change your company. You're not going to solve why there's a hiring freeze. You're not going to make your manager a better manager. All you can control is Whitney. So you need to get like the fuck on the ball and be like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I did. If they have objections, it forces them in a box of responding, are you doing the right things? And then they can't deny that you've accomplished them, right? So I would do that. Second thing I would do is get your resume together and start to think about other companies in the space or other companies you'd love to work for or whatever, right? Like get on the ball. And then the third thing I would do is force a one-on-one meeting every week or at least every other week to physically or virtually, whatever, talk to your manager about, hey, this, and this. If you also want to get really aggressive, I would also get a one-on-one with HR. And I would go to your HR person and I would say, hey, I had an annual review. This went great. They may say everybody got a raise and a bonus at the annual review. You didn't do anything special, blah, blah, blah. Don't go in a victim. Don't go in whining. Don't go in complaining about how your company's greedy. Like, nobody cares. Just go into, hey, I want to be the best at my job. I'm concerned that I'm on a PIP. Here's my understanding of what I need to do. Here's what my plan is. Does this seem like a good plan? And if you do all those things, one, if you want to stay, hopefully you'll be able to stay and you get yourself off the PIP cycle. It sets you up in case you have to go. And the third is it forces your managers to manage. And I think if you can do all those things, it at least makes you feel in control of what your world is. So that's my 2 cents. But thank you guys for doing this. I got a lot out of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. This was awesome.
All right. So that was the Zoom session. I loved it. After I did the Zoom, I went out and got lunch. And as you do when you go outside, you wear sunglasses. I lose glasses like it's my job. Ryan Whitney has the best losing glasses story on the planet. But let's face it, you've lost your sunglasses too. What's great about Shady Rays is that Shady Rays doesn't think that sunglasses need to be expensive. They're not like everyone else in the industry that's going to mark up a piece of plastic that costs like 50 cents to be like $700. So don't overpay for sunglasses. Go to shadyrays.com. You can buy one, get one free. 2 pairs for $50. Like, you can lose one and you're still saving money. So I love Shady Rays. They do a ton for charity. They stand behind their products. They have an incredible warranty. If you go to shadyrays.com, you can buy one and get one free. All right. So we've got David Blattman joining us this week. David Blattman is one of the most talented people here. He runs so much of our video business. He also produces the college football show. What I wanted to talk about was this past weekend, we had thousands and thousands of fans in East Lansing to watch our college football show. And the energy was electric. You could just tell by watching online and seeing everyone post about it, and also the myriad of comparisons to ESPN Game Day. So here's a clip from Saturday.
Welcome to the Barstool College Football Show, live from Michigan State in East Lansing, baby.
Let's go.
This is awesome.
What a crowd.
What a crowd. This is, I have to say, I think this is our best crowd ever.
This is incredible.
This is the best crowd we've ever had.
There are people
I love the
all the
people
way back
all
there.
on the balconies. We've got the hot girls up there in the balcony. The shoes, we've got the signs.
This is wild.
This is
They're
wild.
throwing shit.
They're throwing beers. We've got beers
Yes.
thrown at us. All right, so Dave's going to... I'll let this go for a little bit.
I fucking love this crowd.
I fucking love this. This is Big Ten football. This is one of the best rivalries in football. We are here in East Lansing, presented by MTX, the world's most popular mobile app for cryptocurrency tracking and trading. You're just soaking wet at this point.
By the way, shout out God for the perfect Big Ten weather.
Yes.
This is what Big Ten football is.
Dave just smells like beer.
Did you take a red shot?
Yeah, someone hit me. Little brother is certainly welcoming. It's a big game environment. I like federal crime right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Insult sign.
Insult sign.
Insult sign.
Yeah. So there's going to be just clips. Look at this. You're just getting pelted with beers here.
All right. So Blattman, hi.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Give everyone like a 30-second sense of who you are, what you did before you got here.
Before I came here. So I've been in mostly television production for the most of my career. Worked in ESPN, MLB Network, left MLB to kind of go digital route for at Toys R Us.
Okay.
Running their video there, and then the company went under.
What was the name of the draft? Jeffrey
the Draft.
Yep.
Jeffrey the Draft.
Making Jeffrey the Draft videos.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
I loved him.
A lot of toy videos, which was fun.
Yep.
But then the company, of course, went under. Lost my job. Kind of had to figure some things out. Got a job for the first time in my life that I was absolutely miserable doing.
Okay.
Left it after 3 or so months to come here.
Okay.
And I've been here now for 3 years.
And what do you love and what do you hate about Barstool?
What I love about Barstool is, kind of what everyone talks about, the authenticity. That's a very real thing. I do all of our interviews for hopeful producers who are coming here, and one thing I talk about is, you could have all the talents in the world, but if you don't really understand the voice and don't understand how to deliver our content in our authentic way, then it just doesn't translate most of the time. Of course, if you don't understand it, you could learn. But to me, that is something that really sets us apart because, at our root, of course, this is started as like a gambling newspaper, and you could just tell all these companies are trying to catch up as gambling becomes legal. For us, it was never a catch up. It was just like we're setting the pace because we've been ahead of this from day one. So I think that rings true from everything we do, and not just our on-camera talent.
Sure.
I think it's really important that our behind-the-scenes people are authentic because if you're not doing something that you don't actually love, people can sniff that out very quickly. Like, audience members are not dumb. They know when things are fake. And to me, all of our producers, what's great about this place is most of our producers, if not all of them, are working on things that they love to do. I think it's pretty rare that people here work on things that they don't enjoy. So that's a big thing. What I don't like about this place, it's not so much anymore the case, but after I started, it felt very disorganized.
What year did you start?
2018.
Okay.
So a couple years into Barstool's New York City experience.
It was, to be
very
fair,
chaotic.
very disorganized.
It was very disorganized. I remember my first day, I came to my new desk, and there was just a 10-foot pile high stack of orange lacy drives.
Oh, yeah. Which was our video library.
Which was the video library, and I was told to figure it out. Like, full disclosure, there was like a 2-week window after I started where I was like, what the fuck's going on? Like, this place makes no sense. I kind of was like, do I want to stay here? Like, I don't understand it. Once I kind of got with the rhythm and figured out what we were doing, it felt like a home pretty quickly. And it's pretty awesome to see how we become like a legitimate media company since then.
That's cool. Do you think the David Blattman joining today, what does he or she say?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think they find it disorganized and chaotic? Like, how has it changed?
It's definitely, I always give people a warning when they start here that it is a little more chaotic, especially if you come from the TV network world.
An established place.
Yeah, because like, from prior experience, you're kind of, if you work at TV networks, you kind of have things handed to you on a silver platter in terms of this very organized server with perfectly logged video files. Here, we're starting to get there. We have a server where things live, but we don't have the logging where it, other places have it. So it can certainly feel disorganized just because it's not as perfect as networks are.
Yeah.
But to me, that kind of is what makes things better here because you're forced to figure things out a little bit quicker. You're forced to be better at your job. Like, I think this place is, I don't want to say it's a sink or swim type place, but I think people here who find success find it quicker and are forced to find it quicker and are able to do more than they would otherwise do at other companies because that's just how we move. We operate. We move so quickly. It's nonstop. We've gotten to the point where, football season was always our off season. We've gotten to a point now where football season kind of feels like it's in season because it's very, we know what shows we're doing for the fall. Then when fall ends, it's like, all right, let's do everything imaginable. And in order to be successful, you have to be able to be quick on your toes. So I think this job forces people to be good at their job.
That's great. I love that. Okay, so give a sense of the college football show. This is our third year. I want to say this is our
fourth
year.
Season. So that we did before 2018, before I started.
We did the Facebook one.
Yeah,
that was a disaster.
Yeah, we did the disastrous Facebook one. And then it became like a real
then we made our own
show. Correct, in 2018. And I've been on it ever since then.
And what do you love about the show?
What I love about it is I always call it a studio show, but really it's more of a spoof of a studio show. We're not running highlight packages. We're not, doing the traditional analysis that you'd get on, other networks. It's just our authentic take on how we would do any of our content. And I think that's a really unique approach. And it's just really cool to see how big it's grown from, day one. I remember the first video we ever did, it was like, I watched it recently and it was just an unwatchable show. Like, it was fine in the moment, but it was it's like a
cringe.
Horrific show. It's very bad. Up until this most recent show when we're in East Lansing and we have, several thousand people there. it's pretty cool to see how it's grown in such a short time.
What do you think draws the crowd to our show versus a game day? So for anyone who hasn't watched the college football show, we air it on Saturday mornings. It's got Casey Smith, Dan Katz, Dave, obviously, and Brandon Walker. We've got a cast of ancillary characters in there. Rico never shows up. That's kind of a character. We've got Big Ev. I really think it's a gambling show dressed up as a college football
100%.
show, and it's an opinion show dressed up as an analyst show.
Yep.
But what do you think it is that is drawing the crowds? You know, when we had our, I remember our first show for the college football show. I think it was in 2017. Was at Ohio State. It literally was a fucking disaster. From the production to the script to the everything was a disaster. And we maybe had like 400 people there who really were pissed because we were taking up the Ohio State frat tailgate area. Flash forward to now, we make a surprise trip to East Lansing. We change the venue at the last minute, and we have thousands and thousands of people showing up. Like, what do you think it is that's drawing people there?
It's an experience. You know, other shows, you know, we had, you know, 2 other competitors there in East Lansing with us. And when they put on their shows, it's just that. It's a show. Nobody's, if they're going to see those broadcasts, or they're not going for specific talent. They're just going because it's something to do.
They're there.
They're there. It's just something to do. Whereas people are seeking us out because it's an entire experience. They want to see Dave Portnoy in person. They want to see Big Cat. It's just it's almost like a party where everyone kind of comes together just to share this moment. And it's and you said it perfectly. I mean, these shows aren't about like traditional analysis. We're in and out. It's like a 30-minute show. They're there to we interact with the crowd.
Yeah.
Whereas College Game Day, their backs are to the audience. They're not interacting. There is engagement. I'm not here to say that College Game Day is dead by any means, but it's a different experience. You know, it's just you're going because you're part of the show there.
Yeah. I also think sorry to interrupt you,
you're
but
fine.
if you, for anyone who watched last weekend, Dave shows up in East Lansing, which is the home of Michigan State, in a Michigan bomber jacket. It was Michigan State playing, and gives the bird to everyone. So like that's the other thing you don't see in a traditional network show is who are the hosts rooting for versus the really sterile, I'm picking Michigan State to win, which obviously nobody did. But what do you think? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's spot on. I mean, there's always been this unspoken SOP for the traditional TV networks.
What's the SOP?
Standard
operating
procedure. Where they can't pick sides. You have to be unbiased. You can give your take, but you should kind of appeal to both audiences because you don't want to cut anyone out. Where we just own that. Like, Dave Portnoy is a Michigan fan. He is not going to go to Michigan State against Michigan and be like, well, Michigan State's pretty good. Like, I think they have a chance. Like, that's not who we are. That's not who he is. And that's what sets us apart. And, you know, it's weird because we're at this interesting time now in production world, I think, where there's almost like a changing of the guard happening where
inside this company,
inside the industry as a whole,
okay.
The traditional network ways have always been the way people handle things. I think as every year passes, the way we do things becomes the new norm. And like, it's almost like where the iPhone is first coming out.
Yeah,
it's
the
like
world is coming to us.
The world is coming to us. Flip phones are starting to die. Here comes smartphones. So like, that's kind of where we are in production, I think. Like, I fully believe Barstool Sports will win an Emmy by 2024. Like, I've said that before, because we are doing things that are authentic and real, and it's only a matter of time till the powers that be that vote for these kind of things like actually catch up, whether that be the current generation of voters move out and the new generation comes in, or they just finally catch up to the times. We are doing things where the future is going, whereas everyone else is doing dated stuff.
Right.
And I fully believe that. You know, I'm not here just to, like, you know, say that for, you know, some kind of clip. I fully believe we will win some kind of Emmy by 2024.
Let's go, Blattman. I'm going to take the other side of that.
Okay.
I don't think people give us awards.
I don't think people want to give us awards. I think there will start being a change in the way, like, because I mean, think of like all of our fans now. At some point, they will be in a position who they're the voters.
Sure,
they're the people who
it's
are
like
ADs at campuses.
Yeah, that's right. It's like the coaches. You know, if you look at, we used to have the players be Barstool fans, and now we got the assistant coaches, and now we got the head coaches.
Correct. And it's just that's perfectly said, and it's just a different time. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I had the same routine every morning. I would wake up, get breakfast, get ready for school, and watch SportsCenter. And I remember so vividly watching SportsCenter like this because I wanted to block the bottom line on the screen so I didn't see the scores before the highlights were spoiled. That doesn't exist anymore in this age of internet. Nobody is watching a 7 a.m. SportsCenter to get breaking news about a game that happened 12 hours ago. Everybody knows everything that happened in the moment that it happened at all times.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time till people start catching up to it, and we're well ahead of that. We're setting the pace, I think, and people will start catching up, and will become the norm, and that's when we're really become like the real powerhouse.
We'll have had 5 or 6 years at that pace. I think the other thing that's interesting about how we do our shows is, if you looked at last weekend, and it's just illustrative, is Michigan State. You've got a lot of attitude and opinion. You've got humor. You've got the spoof of we're a real show. You also have all of you guys on the ground were like, holy shit, there's more people here. Like the enthusiasm of, oh my gosh, we've made it is really palpable.
Yeah.
Then you have Dave go on a Twitter spree about how great Michigan is.
Right.
Michigan gets walloped, and then Dave pretends that his Twitter got hacked for the entire afternoon.
Okay, emergency press conference. A couple things. Michigan. You had me tricked there in the third quarter. I thought we were actually good. I was starting to talk shit, writing checks my ass couldn't cash. Thank you. Number 2, I was hacked. Anything I said on Twitter, I was hacked. Can't prove otherwise.
Now, that's a storyline that's born out of a live show, a studio show we have, a narrative we've already put into place, and it just perpetuates. The thing I think is so interesting about what we do and the people we have here is you take someone like you who's creating an experience, physical or just in video, you take opinions and humor, and then you play that into a social conversation, which plays into more videos, which plays into podcasts, which we eat for the rest of the week. Like it's so blended, like, which I think is what's also so cool about production.
Yeah.
It's not one thing anymore.
No, it's not one thing. There's, we as an internet company, we deliver to every social media platform known to man. We have to cater to every audience that could possibly exist on this planet. And, I've never been at a company that has built this universe so well as Barstool. As you mentioned, we go to the game, Dave goes on this rant, then they lose, and he tries to take it back like as if he was hacked. Like, you can't fabricate that kind of universe. Like, we have the ability to do that because that's just how the company's always been. And, we kind of like built this perfect like spider web. I don't know if it was by design or by accident, but it's like, you could be a fan of like Chicks in the Office. All of a sudden you're, a huge fan of Fran. You find out she has a football podcast. Now you're listening to football. And now it's like, oh, what other football stuff does Barstool do? Oh, they have Part of My Take.
Yeah.
So it's like this.
We like to think that's by design. Bob.
Yeah. Well, we'll say by design.
Thanks. Appreciate that. This is my show.
True. Good point. Good point. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
But it's just really fascinating how it works. Like once you, and certainly, of course, there's people who don't like the stuff we do, but I like to think that there's something out there for everyone. At least it could be one tiny thing here, but we do such a good job of like, oh, if you're interested in this, check this out. And it's just like
hook you and then
exactly. You kind of get hooked, and it's tough to not be addicted.
Great. So where's the show next?
We're back in studio for a little bit. We're kind of at this point. We always get to this around Thanksgiving.
We're in the tire. We got the tires.
Yeah, this is the dog days of fall now. So we're gonna hang back in studio for a little bit and then kind of see how the season progresses, and then who knows? Obviously we're working our way back to towards the Arizona Bowl. So a lot of cool things happening.
Great. Thanks for doing this, Bob. And congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. So it's Thursday. Hopefully everyone's recovered from Halloween. This was like a 4-day Halloween, so I feel like everyone was probably slightly hungover until like Tuesday morning. But it's Thursday. Celebrate the weekend. It was so rainy last weekend in New York. Hopefully it's not going to be rainy this weekend. You can have a high noon, real vodka, real juice, and a splash of seltzer. My favorite flavor is peach. You can pick up a variety pack now. High Noon is sold wherever liquor is sold. You could even check your supermarket. It is perfect for your tailgate or whatever it is you may be doing this weekend. Adulting today, we're talking about tips for interviewing. in particular, your body language when you're interviewing. I thought this was really interesting, actually. You convey so much in your body language. I remember used to being in meetings at Microsoft, and I would cross my arms and like rock back and forth. I realized I looked like I should have been in a straitjacket, which was a bigger sign that I shouldn't be working for Microsoft. But body language matters. People pick up on body language. And in particular, when someone is judging you about whether or not you should work for them, they judge your body language. You should also be judging the same thing if you're on the other side of the table. How does the person seem? Do they seem open? Do they seem approachable? Do they seem professional? Are they slouching in their chair? Are they picking their nose? Are their arms crossed? I actually read this really interesting article once that the best negotiators mimic the exact body language of the person across from the table. So you should be mimicking the structure that the person has across from you. Okay, we talked to Caroline Castrion. She started a company called The Corporate Escape Artist. I love that title. She said this is the number one rule when you approach an interview.
Well, it might sound a little corny, but be yourself. A lot of people they're in their heads too much during interviews, and they get nervous, and they're not looking at the person in the eye. And it's just really knowing that this is just another human being. And actually, the more authentic you are and the more you show of yourself, but still in a professional way, the more you're going to stand out versus someone who's just, trying to think about how they want the questions to be answered.
Caroline said that you should practice not fidgeting and maintaining eye contact. Caroline also suggested you practice active listening during the interview versus spacing out, which is what I sometimes do.
Just letting the person know that first of all, you obviously want to be listening to them anyway, but letting them know that you hear them. So just in subtle ways, like, you nod as they're speaking, you're making eye contact, but you're not staring at the person. You maybe reiterate something that they said to ensure that you understood it properly, or maybe want to clarify something. So just letting them know that you're actively listening to them.
A lot of these rules still apply if you're interviewing over Zoom conference or over video. Here's a tip she has for virtual interviews.
I always encourage people to practice, especially when you're doing video interviews, like, looking into the camera versus looking at yourself, which is what a lot of people do, because that's how you are essentially making eye contact virtually, because you're not, in the room with the person. So it's kind of like the same rules apply over video as they do when you're in an in-person setting. It's just that you need to work a little harder to get that feeling across, because you've got this, technical, these cameras between you. So being able to, kind of going back, being able to practice, even if it's with a family member, a friend, or even just recording yourself and then playing it back just to kind of see what you look like. I think that always helps. And it also makes you comfortable with the technology, in terms of like setting it up properly, your background, the lighting, all of that really matters in terms of being able to get your point across to an interviewer.
That's it for today's episode. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a rating, or give us a review. You can DM us whatever questions you want. We're loving doing the AMAs. I do that in the morning on the train. We're trying to feature a bunch of your questions, not only in the show itself, but we answer them on Instagram. You can watch this episode along with all of our other episodes on YouTube. Just search Token CEO on YouTube and you can find us. And we will see you back here next Thursday.